Right, what's up everybody? Good to see you all on this very snowy New York City night. We're outside of 432 Park Avenue and we finally have at least somewhat of precipitation here in New York, which is always kind of cool to look at. Now currently right now, the CEO of NVIDIA is speaking at the CES in Vegas. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to miss that. I thought it was at 6:30 Eastern time, but it's at 6:30 Vegas time. So it is going to be pretty important to kind of check that out. I think after we get finished doing the live stream, I will be in the office kind of watching that. So pretty exciting stuff. Interesting day for the market. We had a little bit of a rebound in stocks, but things kind of closing mid-range, so to speak. We have Bitcoin back over 100,000. Looking for a very strong close today. I think intraday we hit about 102, 103,000. So we'll see. We'll talk about it and we'll see what's going on. But yeah, just another quick note. The CEO of NVIDIA is speaking live right now at the 2025 CES conference in Vegas, Nevada. Thanks so much for joining, everybody. We'll get started here momentarily. It's good to see everybody, and it is quite the cold night in New York. It is freezing, freezing cold. So we'll get started here in a minute. Lena Sandoval, Sally, Top Cat, thanks for joining. Young Nation, Emma, DC322, good to see everybody. John Bass, Kate, welcome. Nighthawk, thanks for joining us. And I think it's snowing right now. We have a very, very light kind of snow flurries here, which is pretty cool to see. We haven't had snow in quite some time. Anyway, we'll do the quick audio and visual check. So if you guys can hear us, and if we're broadcasting in 1080p, just go ahead and give a thumbs up in the chat. We will go ahead and get started on this very, very cold night in New York City on Park Avenue. Green 007, Chloe, Middle Age Grind, Harry Connor, Adrian. Good to see everybody. All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. Just to quickly note, for those of you who didn't know, right across the street we have the Four Seasons Hotel, which is now officially reopened on New York City's Billionaires Row. And you will also have the opportunity to buy individual condo units on some of the lower floors of this building. It's probably going to be set for very, very high price per square foot. And you're going to be overlooking 432 Park Avenue. But it's good to know that it is once again open for business right here on the row. So good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Walks on Wall Street. It is a very cold and blustery, windy night here in New York City. We have a little bit of snow precipitation here in New York. Can't really see it too well on the concrete. But as we head over to Central Park, and if you kind of look at some of the grassy areas, we do have snow on the ground here. A little bit of a rally day on Wall Street today. Also in the crypto markets, rallied quite a bit. Bitcoin was able to regain its 50-day moving average, 2 consecutive closes above the 50-day, and a little bit of a markup today. Intraday, I think we hit about $103,000 per Bitcoin. We've since come down. We'll see how Asia markets trade. Obviously, one of the big catalysts for the week is going on right now as we speak. Once again, this is the front entrance of the Four Seasons. But the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen, is giving his keynote speech at the opening, I guess, ceremony, you could say, at CES 2025 in Vegas. I'm sure there's going to be some interesting news. Usually there's some new product drops, or at least a hint of what's to come in the product pipeline for NVIDIA. Now, price action in the stock today in NVIDIA, we did have a little bit of a rally day in the stock, closing mid-range, but also closing at a new all-time record high as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this trades overnight. If it's good news, maybe we'll gap and go into record highs as some of those leaders start to regain their 50-day moving average and the like, and trend higher. So I'll say hello to everybody in the chat, and we will go ahead and get started. As always, we're on 57th Street. We're right on the corner of Madison Avenue. And it is a freezing, freezing cold night. So Professor Dario, good to see you. Connie Ruiz is here. Megan, Young Nation DC322, Jenny, Joe Driver, Sonny H, what's going on? Debbie, Lori, Joe, the Joyful One, Tom C, good to see you. Man, if I point the camera all the way down Madison, you could just really tell how cold it is here with all the steam pouring out from the subway. Emmett, what's going on? Kathleen. Shouldn't have too many people walking around tonight, so it should be a relaxed, kind of calming live stream. Scholar's here, what's going on? Victor, I'm glad you're enjoying New York City. It is quite beautiful. It's kind of calming. You know, if you're bundled up appropriately, walking around New York City at night on a very cold night like this, it's kind of peaceful because you don't have too many people out. You don't have too many cars out. So the noise is actually kind of tame, I guess. SD, welcome. Good to see you. Now, there was the cover story. Well, I shouldn't say the cover story. The first story in Barron's this week was very good. It was all about Apple. They did a complete coverage of Apple. Obviously, 2024 was a great year for the company and the stock, up about 30% for the year, beating out the S&P 500. Question is, will it continue? Will this rally in a lot of these big tech stocks, such as Apple, continue? One of the good things is we are coming up on a major upgrade cycle here. So people are going to be needing to get new devices and such. Another thing is it's almost like a forced upgrade cycle, because if you talk about AI, right, as it relates to Apple Intelligence, if you want to use all of the new AI tools that are coming out from Apple, well, you're going to need new devices, you're going to need new hardware. So maybe that will be a forced kind of upgrade cycle there. Oh man, it's so windy. If you guys look at the Tiffany flags here, I mean, these must be like 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It feels like it's in the teens here in New York. Brad's brain, what's going on? Very jealous. Yeah, Jensen is speaking right now. I think once I get finished with this live stream, I'm going to go back to the office and watch a replay of that. Hopefully there'll be some big bombshells that are dropped. Usually every single year at CES, there's something that comes out, whether it's a new product or, you know, a big announcement. So I'm pretty excited. Maybe that'll act as a catalyst for the stock tomorrow. We did close at new all-time record highs for NVIDIA, but we did close mid-range. So, hey, Andre Brown, what's going on? Always a pleasure to see you. Says, hello, Tom. How are you doing? I love your apartment views, especially from the one on 75 First Avenue. Yes, that's a really good project. 75 First Avenue is an interesting project. That is the project that my boss built, the company I work for. Actually developed that building, 75 First. And if you Google some photos of it, it actually cantilevers over a grocery store. So the grocery store didn't want to sell out, so I believe they purchased the air rights, and it is a condo that is built up and over, kind of cantilevering over that grocery store. So it was a pretty interesting deal. Very interesting deal. Anyway, 57th Street, 5th Avenue here. We'll head a little bit further in. Usually the more central you are located in Manhattan, less wind you get. So we'll stay away from the west side, we'll stay away from the east side. We'll check it out. Daryl is here from Chicago, Illinois. What's up, Daryl? Now, I was looking at some video of Lake Michigan. Oh my God, that looks like a complete desolate, totally freezing. I don't know how anybody lives there. I mean, if you think New York is cold, definitely looks freezing there. Andre Brown says, I wish I had the money. I would have bought it too. It's already sold. So we didn't sell it, we rented it. We rented it for about $19,000 a month. So it technically still is on the market for sale. If anybody's interested in it, let us know. But it's currently rented at about $19,000 a month, which I think is a pretty solid rent. I think that's pretty solid. You know, in the current market we have now, or what we had, it was difficult to move kind of that high-end product. So oftentimes we'll just decide to rent it. So we're getting about $19,000 a month for that property. Now, speaking of really nice properties, if you look over here to the left, you see 53 West 53rd Street. I think this is the best view of it because you could see so much of the building. Really quite nice. We'll probably have to shoot a standalone video of this building as well. In the building just off to our right, this is where Tiger Global is. It's one of the main Tiger Cub hedge funds. Andre Brown says, I'd love to see something in downtown Brooklyn. Downtown Brooklyn's its own different animal. The Brooklyn Tower hasn't really been doing well. I think they went into foreclosure. I mean, the only I would say project that I've been on in Brooklyn, New York was in Red Hook, Brooklyn. And the address was 199 Conover Street. It was across the street from a distillery, actually. I'm not sure if anybody here is a big bourbon person, but the Widow Jane is a bourbon brand, and their distillery is right in Red Hook, Brooklyn, across the street from that development. Now, Lee Cohen is the developer. They hired us to do sales. We're no longer on the project. But when we were there, we sold the most expensive apartment in Red Hook, Brooklyn history. And that neighborhood is really getting gentrified. Really getting gentrified like crazy. Alan, what's up? Good to see you. Victor, cheers to you. Hopefully you're doing well. The Strip, Bruce is watching here from Ontario, Canada. Hope to visit New York City one day. Love your videos and your explanation of things. Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll be able to get the chance to visit Canada. I haven't been to Canada in a long time. I've been to Toronto once. I think it's a great city, but the last time I was there, I was so little. I don't really remember too much of it. And I was planning a big trip with my friends to go to Montreal. And right before we were going to take the trip, that's when the pandemic happened. So we couldn't even travel. So hopefully 2025 will be the year I could finally get back to Canada. We'll see. Right now you're looking at the skinniest residential apartment building in the world. This is the Steinway Tower. This is 111 West 57th Street. Now, speaking of some economic news coming out of Canada, the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, is going to resign. Now, I am quite happy about that, frankly put. So I think this is very, very good and positive news. I think this was the right thing to do for Trudeau to step down, because in my personal opinion, again, I respect everybody's opinion, but in my personal view, he has destroyed that country. And, I think the best is yet to come for our neighbors to the north in Canada. So very, very good news that Trudeau is now going to be gone. We'll go ahead and make this right. Bruce, as we as Canadians are very happy also. And look, I mean, to give Trudeau credit, I'm glad that he has stepped down. Peter's sitting by my fireplace with an adult beverage. Stay warm out there. Yeah, wood-burning fireplaces are the best. Absolutely fantastic. Cheers to you. Wow, Vincent says there's a major snowstorm potentially going to hit the East Coast according to the Weather Channel. We'll see. I will say this. I'm actually kind of ready for a big snowstorm. We haven't had one in a really, really long time here in New York. I just want a monster to crush the city. I think it'd be fun. 2-3 feet of snow, something massive. We haven't had that in a really, really long time in New York. We only get these, dustings to 1 inch to 2 inches. But I can't even remember the last time that we got some significant precipitation in New York City. Reggie44 says huge new NVIDIA GPU with Blackwell. I'm watching CES2. Yeah, just real quick reminder for anybody who's just joining. Some really, really big news right now that's going on. The CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen, is giving his keynote speech, which you can watch for free on YouTube. It's being live streamed. And it's important because NVIDIA is one of the largest companies in America by market cap. So obviously, if the CEO is giving a keynote speech, you can bet that a lot of shareholders and traders and investors are paying close attention. Tomorrow we'll probably do a big post-analysis of that keynote. When I'm finished doing this live stream, I'm probably going to go back to the office. Well, grab a coffee, go back to the office, and really decompress. And check out that keynote. Josh Ello says Ohio got 10 plus inches of snow last night. Oof, yikes. Bay Poodle says, what do you think of the new real estate show on Netflix? I have not seen it yet. We're now on Central Park South. You can see some of the snow still on the rocks and everything like that. This is my favorite neighborhood in all of New York, right here, Central Park South. I think some of New York City's greatest real estate is right here. At least some of the most iconic, right? Plaza Hotel, JW Marriott, Essex House, and the like. So, very good. Anyway, Apple is very, very close to becoming the first ever $4 trillion company. Again, I kind of revert back to that really good article that was written this past weekend in Barron's. It was all about Apple, had a great year, over 20% returns for Apple in 2024, beating the S&P 500's returns. And, the big bull thesis for Apple is essentially this quote-unquote forced upgrade cycle due to AI, right? Artificial intelligence and Apple intelligence. Because if you think about all of the new AI tools that Apple has come out with, well, if consumers want to take advantage of those tools, you're going to need the new hardware, right? So if you think about all the millions of devices out in the field, corporations, individuals, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, if they want to take advantage of those new tools, well, you're going to need new hardware with the new chips. So not only at Apple, but if everybody really wants to be able to take advantage of the full broad-scale capabilities of AI, well, obviously, you're going to need new hardware that has the chips that'll be able to, give you that power. So, pretty interesting stuff. Melissa 2087, welcome. Good to see you. John G. I know, says it would be nice to get some sun. That is true. Well, I'm going to be going down to Miami, Florida very soon. Now, economically, one of the interesting things about Miami right now, it's called in season. So if you're not familiar, during the winter, that's really the snowbird season in Miami. It's called in season. And I think this past weekend, Miami International Airport hit a new all-time record for the most amount of travelers that have passed through that airport in history. So my prediction is that this snowbird season is going to be the most touristed and trafficked snowbird season in history for Miami. It's really, really going to be something. There's a lot of business activity going down in Miami, South Florida specifically, and 2025 is really going to be the first year where you're going to really see that come to fruition, right? It's pro-business down there, very good quality of life. Unfortunately, it is getting quite expensive to live down there, but this snowbird season is going to be crazy in Miami. Really, really crazy. And we will be down there, hopefully, next week. Let's actually go to Central Park. I want to show you guys Central Park in the snow. So I have a few meetings down there. It's going to be amazing stuff for 2025 in Miami. I hope to show you guys a lot of the stuff I'm going to be working on down there. And I'm just very, very excited overall, frankly put. Ben says, hey Tom, let me know if this unit, 1 Central Park South. Yeah, send me an email. If you're interested in a particular unit or something off market, let me know. And I will do my best to, dig up any information I can. Here you can see we do have snow on the ground here in New York City. We have a little rat running right here, so you can see. But Central Park looks really, really pretty with the snow on the ground, doesn't it? It looks nice. Let's actually go inside Central Park. We might as well. This is facing west. These two towers that you see right here is the Deutsche Bank Center. This building with all the lights on, that is the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. This building was built by a related group. It was originally called the Time Warner Center. Now Deutsche Bank, they vacated their office tower at 60 Wall Street. They've moved up here to Columbus Circle. This building right here, everybody, is the first building ever constructed on New York City's Billionaires Row. I just put out a standalone video today. It's about 15 minutes long, talking about the developer, talking about the architect, talking about the architect who designed the interior, talking about the Park Hyatt. Everything you need to know about 157, I put up in that video. If you're interested, go ahead and check it out. Without further ado, let's go into Central Park with all this snow on the ground. Barrington James, good to see you. Cheers to you. It's kind of cool with the snow and then the backdrop of the city skyline. Very, very unique. Larry Adams, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Sam Oliver's here. Hey, Sam. Good evening to you. And welcome to New York City Central Park at night in the snow. Really quick on the real estate note. You see this building right here on the Upper West Side of Manhattan? That is the newest development that is going up right now on the Upper West Side. And as we talk about Extel, right, 157 Central Park Tower, 1 Manhattan Square, Extel is also on this project, and this is going to be an unreal building. It's selling out really, really well. They've done no marketing, and it's not even complete yet. So it's going to be right on, I think, 66th Street, and that is the newest building that is going up on Manhattan's Upper West Side. Check it out. It's going to be an amazing, amazing development. But I want to stand over here, give you a little bit of a better view of Central Park with all this snow on the ground. And then I want to turn the camera back south and give you probably one of the most amazing views you're ever going to see. Starting with this building right here. This building is 432 Park Avenue. The developer is Harry Macalow. This building with the gold top is my old building. That is 106 Central Park South. That is Trump Park. And then you get to these super talls. So this one right here is Steinway Tower, 111 West 57th Street. That is the skinniest residential apartment building in the entire world. The one with the green top right here is Hampshire House. This is Essex House, and that's 157 West 57th Street. And then you have these two ones here, Central Park Tower, another Extel building, and then a Vornado building with the gold top, 220 Central Park South, which is very reminiscent of the AM Stern at 15 Central Park West. So really nice views here. Let's continue on into the park. Soho Joe. Good to see you, Joe. What do you guys think of Central Park in the wintertime and at night? It's quite peaceful. The Goats is absolutely love New York from Norway. Is Central Park safe at night? It is safe at night. The NYPD has put up a lot of these floodlights here. So really lights up the park. And then you get to take in these really one-of-a-kind views. Ain't no city like New York City, that is for sure. That is for sure, my friends. Now, this kind of mini skyline here, Deutsche Bank Tower, 1 Central Park West, which is the Trump International Hotel and Tower, and then really one of the most prominent buildings, not only in New York City, but in the entire world, is right here. This is 15 Central Park West, one of the most sought-after buildings. Hold on one second. Really one of the most sought-after buildings in the world. You have Daniel Loeb has an apartment here. Former CEO of Goldman Sachs, Lloyd Blankfein, has an apartment there. At one time, Alex Rodriguez had a unit there, as well as famous actor. I forget his name, but he's also got a unit there. Really, really pretty building. Now, we're going to go right up on top of these rocks, and we'll get one more look at that view of Central Park South and Billionaires Row, and then we'll go venture over to the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Ben has sent you an email. Appreciate that. Ben, I'm sorry we couldn't meet up last time I was in Miami, but if I'm there next week, just go ahead and send me a text, and I'll try to make it happen. We'll set something up. GGNYC, good to see you. We're going to go climb up on top of these rocks. Dar says, good evening, Tom. Great view of the park. Thank you so much. And we have the one and the only, the very famous, much anticipated, never forgotten, Western Mass Dave joining us in the audience as we scale these very icy rocks. What do you guys think? It's pretty cool. A little bit of rock climbing in Central Park as the CEO of NVIDIA is giving his keynote speech. All right, what do you guys think of the view? Give me your thoughts on this view. I mean, it really, kind of at a loss for words. You have the snow covering Central Park, all of Central Park South, and just the beauty of New York City's Billionaires Row. I mean, you're not going to get this anywhere in the world. You know, it's really unbelievable. New York City is really the greatest city in the world. All right, let me try to get over here. Okay. We're taking it easy because there is ice all over the place. I'm not sure if you could see. It's like a cascade of ice on the entire thing. Trying not to crack the old head open live on the broadcast. Definitely don't want to do that. Definitely don't want to do that. All right, one more view here. Now, this building right here is 270 Park Avenue. I didn't even know you could see it from here. I haven't been up here in a really long time, but that's the newest Class A office tower that Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan Chase has constructed on Park Avenue. We mentioned this before, but go ahead and check out 350 Park Avenue. They just released the new renderings, and that building is going to look unbelievable. You can see someone's Christmas tree in the window right here. Could you imagine the view from that person's apartment? Oh my God. Insane. You can literally see their Christmas tree inside their unit. How crazy is that? Can you guys see that on the stream? I'll try to zoom in. Looks like they have a full floor unit with the Christmas tree right in the corner. Now just try to imagine the views from there. I mean, imagine having that. That's like one of one, never to be recreated in life. Really stunning stuff. And here we have Central Park Tower again and 220 Central Park South. Okay, we'll go ahead and head down. I just wanted to take you guys up to this spot. This is one of my favorite spots in Central Park. Oftentimes, I don't have the opportunity to take you guys up here, so I thought it would be a cool view to show you because we have snow on the ground, and I think it's really, really beautiful with the snow and the New York City skyline in the distance. All right, let's head down safely. Judy says, what is the name of the building with the green top on it? Are you talking about this one? That is the Hampshire House. So this building is the Hampshire House. This is the Essex House. This is the Trump Park, 106 Central Park South. This is 432 Park Avenue, Harry Mackelau. This is the skinniest residential apartment in the world. Steinway Tower. This is the first building ever constructed on New York City's Billionaires Row, 157. This one, the tallest one, over 1,500 feet tall, is Central Park Tower, 217 West 57th Street. And then this one with the gold top is 220 Central Park South. I'm just trying to go ever so slowly down here. Ooh, sliding down. But yeah, I think it's really beautiful here. Okay, cool. We made it. Oh, what was that? Oh, look at the rats. All right, let's go this way to avoid the snow rats. In other news, Bitcoin back above 100,000, which is fantastic. All right, cool. Let's exit on the Upper West Side. You know, many people take living in New York City for granted, but it is quite beautiful. Pretty much an unlimited amount of things to do. Look at these two dogs with they have light up collars so they don't get lost. Noodles, what's going on? Tiger, what's up? Cole's thoughts Central Park was sketchy at night. Not really. I mean, it just depends. I mean, think about it like this. It's like in the teens tonight, probably like 18, 19 degrees. At least it feels like that. So what criminal do you think is going to be lurking around in the teens in Central Park at night? It's kind of freezing. It's quite nice. And plus, you know, this is very high rent district, if you know what I mean. So, whether you like it or not, this is a very, very highly policed area and surveilled area. So this is probably some of the most safe places in the entire city right here, to be quite honest. I just love the Essex House sign. That's honestly my favorite thing about Central Park South. It's such an iconic sign, the Essex House. I love it. Now, they used to, you see the spire of 157? That used to light up white, and like the lights would flicker every night, but there was complaints about it, so they turned it off. That spire used to look really, really cool. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed that walk through Central Park, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams every single day starting at 8:45. But for now, we're going to head over to the Upper West Side of Manhattan. This is kind of the biking path, the running, the walking path here. You'll also see a lot of horse and carriages coming around. Susanna Q4, what's going on? Go for Hockey's, welcome. Noodles, cheers. So this is the path, slippery. Not really, they've honestly done a really good job clearing the snow. I'm not sure if you could see, but there's a lot of rock salt on the ground. I don't know if you guys could see that, but it's very well salted. Brad's Brain says APLD. Oh my God, how do you know about that stock? Now, NVIDIA, I feel like, NVIDIA owns a major, a stake in that company. It's so funny you mentioned that. I was actually doing some work on that stock like 2 months ago. Very cool. Anyway, that's 15 Central Park West. Now, so this is Columbus Circle right here. And then as you make a right, this is the Upper West Side of Manhattan. You can notice the architectural difference of a lot of these buildings, right? So if you turn towards Midtown, you have all these glass-encased skyscrapers. But as you turn to the Upper West Side, it's a lot of, pre-war, what should I say, like limestone-style facade. So this new Extel building, which is being built right here, there was originally a lot of complaints about it from residents on the Upper West Side because they were like, we don't want the Upper West to turn into, Midtown Manhattan with all of these glass skyscrapers, which I kind of get, honestly, but at the same time, Extel always does really, really good work, and there's always going to be a market for, those limestone-style buildings. Now, we also filmed a standalone video talking about 15 Central Park West, which is this building right here. This is probably one of the most sought-after buildings in the world. If you want to go watch that standalone video to learn a little bit more about the developer, the architect, there's over 18,000 individual pieces of limestone that make up the facade in this building. But what a lot of people don't know is that they used the limestone from an Indiana rock quarry, the same exact quarry that was used to build the Empire State Building. So the architect Robert A.M. Stern, who is not only well renowned in New York City, but also over the entire world, he makes timeless work. He's one of the greatest architects in New York City, and I think that was a nice touch to, use that same quarry from the Empire State Building. It's just very, New York-esque, so to speak. And it's a very, secluded kind of, it doesn't really look too gaudy, I guess, is the appropriate word, this building, right? 15 Central Park West. It kind of blends in very nicely with the skyline. It doesn't pop out. It's not like a, hey, look at me type building. It's very discreet, but it's also very elegant, and it's very, very cool. All right, let's exit Central Park now. Top Cat says the UK comes to a standstill with 1 inch of snow. Yeah, I mean, if you think about New York State as a whole, the state of New York, upstate, this is like a breeze to them. It's like a walk in the park. You know what I mean? But I mean, places like Rochester, Buffalo, New York, Syracuse, they can get 2-3 feet of snow, and it's like, you better be on time to work. Okay, welcome to Columbus Circle, everybody. We made it. Yeah, Funky Child says the lake effect snow. You're right. Now, this is the start of the congestion pricing. It appears that they're working on it. Maybe, well, that's strange. Maybe something happened to it. Look at all the police officers here. Looks like they blocked off Central Park West for some reason. Maybe it's maybe something happened to the congestion thing. Maybe it fell down or something. Let's check it out. Everything appears to be blocked off. Huh. That's strange. You could see 2 working men up top. I don't know what happened. Maybe there was a malfunction. Huh. Let's go to the other side and check it out. Interesting. Well, congestion pricing is in full effect, ladies and gentlemen. So you will have to pay the $9 to go south of 60th Street. Oh, I think they're just installing another camera, I guess. I give those guys a lot of credit. I mean, that's real work. Being up there, freezing cold, whipping winds, doing manual labor. Big shout out to them. This is that new Ford Mustang Mach-E. This is actually an EV. I think this is really the only design that kind of gives Tesla not really a run for its money, but it's a very interesting design. And the NYPD purchased some of them. It's pretty cool. Many people ask why there's so many police officers right here at Columbus Circle. Well, that's because there's a precinct right below us. Literally right under us, there's an NYPD precinct inside the Columbus Circle train station. Very cool car. This is the Trump International Hotel and Tower. This is one of my favorite buildings too. This is the Jean-Georges. This is a Michelin star restaurant, steakhouse. I think it's a little bit overrated, to be honest. I've said that many times, but there's much better steaks you can get in Manhattan. This place I would not, it's not that I said I wouldn't go to it, but there's many, many better places. This is the International Hotel. And then if you go one more, these are the residences. So if you buy, a condo or if you rent in the building, you would go right here. Elizabeth says, where is everybody? Probably inside, warming up, being that it is like 18 degrees outside with 20-mile-an-hour winds. So the only crazy people that are outside are people doing live broadcasts, such as myself. Since we're here, let's get another closer look at 15 Central Park West, one of my favorite buildings. I'm looking for our Tesla Cybertruck. Wow. Really beautiful. Once again, a Robert A.M. Stern building, 15 Central Park West. One of my favorite buildings of all time right here. 15 Central Park West. Really, really beautiful. Now imagine having a full floor unit overlooking all of Central Park and Billionaires Row. Now I say this every time. I almost think it's better to have a unit in the Trump International Hotel, which is right here, or at 15 Central Park West, because not only do you have unobstructed views of Central Park, but you could see each individual building and enjoy the architecture of Billionaires Row. I mean, if you live on Billionaires Row, you really can enjoy the architecture of all these buildings, like Steinway Tower, 432 Park. So it's a very interesting view. We'll kind of do one walk around the block. Reggie says, poor Jensen just isn't smooth, but a lot of this stuff is impressive. I'm curious to see what he's talking about. Any big takeaways so far from the Jensen NVIDIA 2025 CES keynote speech that's going on right now? All right, we'll bang this left, and I'll take you to the main entrance, the main front entrance of 15 Central Park West. Hey, Ipedias says, does that building have similar amenities to the ones on Billionaires Row? Yeah, and I would say the amenities are more elegant. Like you have a swimming pool here, but you also have like a cigar lounge, and they have the most unbelievable wine room ever. Like it's so over the top insane. You got to see it. If I get a listing in the building, obviously I'll take you guys in there. I don't know when that'll come. Maybe hopefully sooner rather than later. But it's beautiful in here. Swimming pool, an unbelievable wine room that probably has millions of dollars worth of wine in it. Gym, just really nice amenities, but they're not. They keep the same look and feel of a Robert M. Stern kind of building, if that makes sense. MD says, did you talk about Trudeau? Tom, aren't you Canadian? Am I Canadian? No. What? You thought I was from Canada? Not that I take that as an insult, but anyway, no, I'm not from Canada. I'm from New York, but I do agree with you. I am so happy that Trudeau is finally out of here. He is going to be resigning as Prime Minister, and I think the person that the Canadians get next time obviously is going to be much better than Trudeau. I think it's going to be more of a pro-business Prime Minister, and I think that the best is yet to come for Canada. I love Canada. One of the things that I love the most about the United States of America is that we have some of the best neighbors in the entire world, hands down. And that's also a major beneficiary to our economy. A lot of people don't talk about that. But if you think about just the way the United States is positioned geographically, we have the two best neighbors on the planet. We have the Canadians, which are, it's a capitalistic society, pro-business. Once Trudeau gets out of here, civilized people. They're not threatening to attack us or, we're not going to go to war with the Canadians. And then we got the Mexicans, who are fantastic neighbors as well. They could be a little bit better with controlling things with the cartels. But generally speaking, Mexico's not going to invade us. There's not going to be any, hot wars on either border. So the U.S. is positioned unbelievably in terms of a geographic perspective. So I am very, very blessed to have two of the greatest neighbors on planet Earth, the Mexicans and the Canadians. So, because look what's going on in Eastern Europe, guys. Think about that. At least we don't border Russia. Think about what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. People don't really kind of come to terms with that in America because we kind of take things for granted. We don't have some adversarial country that's trying to invade us or cause harm to us. I'm talking about Canada or Mexico. And then we have two massive oceans separating us from the rest of the world, right? The Atlantic and the Pacific. So talk about a monumental moat, right? To kind of separate us and have us peace here at home, which is really, really great. But yeah, that's a huge breaking piece of news. Justin Trudeau will be stepping down as Prime Minister. Now, the Canadians have been having a major crisis in terms of a housing crisis. Oftentimes, we talk about real estate and the housing crisis here in the United States, but really what's going on in Canada, you can't, it's almost like, America has nothing to complain about. If you want to talk about how expensive it is for home ownership in Canada, it's really just unbelievable. It's gotten out of hand. Prices are completely run away, and very, very few people can afford to buy a home or even a condo or an apartment, particularly the younger generations like the Gen Z and millennials. It's getting very, very difficult to start a family there. Oh, look at this. It's 24 degrees out. With the wind chill, it must feel like it's in the teens. Anyway. But look, I think, the best is yet to come. And I think there's a lot of things to be optimistic about as it relates to our neighbors to the north there in Canada. Oh, Kathleen, by the way, thank you very much for your nice letter. I just stepped into the office and the assistant said, "Hey, Tom, you have some mail on your desk." I just got your holiday card, so I really do appreciate that. So thank you. It is in my office. You have a wonderful family, and thank you for the support, and thank you very much for your very nice letter. I just got that today. So that was kind of nice to come in and see that. So thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Thank you for sending it to me. Okay, let's head southbound here. Hey, Luciano is here from Argentina. What's going on, Luciano? Sketchbooks says my cousin lives in Canada and cannot sell his apartment at all. The interest rate environment's definitely not helping either, right? Hey, what's up, Josie? You can always tell it's cold in New York if you look at the street and you have this kind of like wave of salt, like rock salt. Someone's asking if I'm a millennial. I think so. I think I'm like right on the border of Gen Z and millennials. I guess depending on which data set you're looking at. Some people say the Generation Z starts in 1995. Some people say it starts in 1997. So I guess you could just call me both. I'm a millennial and a Gen Z, I guess. McKinsey says Gen Z starts in 1995. Other consulting firms say 1997, so it's like, whatever. So put me somewhere in the middle. I'm just happy to be alive. Anyway, here's the inside of Deutsche Bank. Sketchbooks is my daughter's 1999. She's a Gen Z. Now, you know what's crazy? I remember when I had my first internship here in New York, all the coworkers would come up to my desk and say, "Hey, kid, what year were you born?" And I said, "Well, I was born in 1995." And they were floored. They just could not believe it. They said, "I can't believe I'm working with a kid who was born in 1995. And they would joke, like, "I can't even believe that people were even born in that year, 1995. And then as I've gotten older, and have had interns myself in my career, and have asked the interns, "Hey, what year were you born?" And these kids are saying, "I was born in 2000, I was born in 2001, 2002. I've had the same reaction. Like, what? How is it possible that somebody could possibly be born in 2002 or 2003? And I'm working with people that were born with a year that starts with 2. Crazy. So now that I'm on the other side of it, I kind of get it. It's like, what? This guy was born in 2003, 2002? It's like insane. I just can't even believe that. Anyway. It is kind of wild to think. I mean, people that were born in the year 2000 are going to be turning 25 years old. That's mind-blowing to me. 2000 was 25 years ago now? How is that even possible? Anyway. That's just one memory I've had, just so vivid in my head. And I mean, this was a million years ago, right? This was when I was an intern, like 20 years old, 22, or 18, 19, 20. And everyone in the office was like, what? How the heck is it possible that I'm working with somebody who was born in 1995? They're like, how is that even legal? How is that even possible? I have the same reaction now that I've had interns of my own, people born in the year 2000, 2, 3, it's crazy. Yeah, Christus says life goes by fast. It really does. It really, really does. I try not to take anything for granted. You are correct on that one. Life does go by fast. So we're now walking down 8th Avenue. We've just kind of made that full loop around Columbus Circle. I used to go to this juice generation quite often. Now this Paris Spaghetti, you would think it's French, but it's actually Korean. The owners here are of that chain. I should say, I think it's a franchise. They are Korean. Let's go down one more by the Wingstop. That's a really, really good business, Wingstop. The ticker symbol is WING. That was one of the big winners of 2024. Oh, look at all the salt. I mean, there's so much salt on the ground I can almost taste it, literally, in the air. It's crazy. But again, a lot of those quick service restaurants are really, really good businesses. Because the ones that are successful all have a few commonalities with each other. We've talked about this as I've kind of initiated coverage on Kava last year, which was a great performing stock. That stock doubled since I've initiated coverage on it. It's now in correction phase from its stage 1 breakout now, but they have very, very simplistic menus, and they have the availability to scale like crazy, right? So if you think of Chipotle, ticker symbol CMG, Kava, ticker symbol CAVA, Wingstop, ticker symbol WING, they all have that in common, right? Wingstop, very simple menu. Chicken wings and what kind of flavor do you want, right? That's really the only thing you could order there. It's the companies that, I don't know, for whatever reason, and this actually has been proven. If anybody is in sales, like when I first got my job in sales, we were actually taught this. If you give customers too much choice, they'll never make a decision, and they're less likely to be repeat customers. But if you give them a handful of choices and say, pick from this, and if they love it, they'll come back, they'll come back, they'll come back, they'll come back constantly. I don't know what it is. There was actually a Harvard business study about this. You know, if you give people too much choice, you know, have too much, you know, menu items, it's kind of the same thing in the real estate business. If you take people to see 10,000, you know, 1,000 listings, nobody's ever going to make a decision, right? You get their criteria, you understand what they want, you whittle it down to 5 options, you know, pick from these 5. Anyway, this is Wingstop. Yeah, Mark Summers says truth. It is very, very true. Yeah, like if you have a buyer, right, and you probably know this better than anybody, and if you are helping them out with their search, before I even go out with them, I mean, I'll just tell them I can't work with you if, you know, they're going to lead you on a wild goose chase. You know, I want to sit down, understand what you want, understand what you're looking for, right? You know, sometimes buyers will just send you 1,000 listings on Zillow or StreetEasy, right? I mean, if you're going to hire a broker, or then don't hire a broker. If you're going to hire a broker, you know, make sure you hire a good one and let them be the driver. Have a meeting with them, understand your needs. You know, what do you need? Why do you need it? Plan for the future, and then let them go to work. If you're just constantly spitballing a million listings at them, chances are you're not going to know very much about the building. You know, if you send them a listing, oh, how come this apartment has such a low list price? Well, it's a land lease building. You didn't know that. You know, you could really have these people take you on a wild goose chase. So it's better to be upfront, tell them how you operate, and say, look, I need to know everything you want. I want to understand a little bit about your family, a little bit about your goals, and then let us go back internally and find those right options for you. Because especially in a city like New York, there is so much that you need to know. You know, oftentimes these buyers will be kind of lured in by really, really low prices. And then they find out that it's a co-op building, it's coming up on a massive assessment, the financials are terrible, and that's why it's so cheap. Or they find out, well, it's a land lease building, and it's coming up for renewal, it's going to cost a bunch of money, that's why it's so cheap. You know, so you really kind of have to do some serious vetting there. Look at this. That's a pretty cool shot. This is like a smart car NYPD cruiser. Look at that. Wow, Brad's Brain says NVIDIA is partnering with Toyota. What's the context, did they say? Any particular context? Christian Adams' Toyotas will be built with NVIDIA's supercomputers and operating systems. All right, let's cross now. Oh wow, Brad, it says Toyota Autonomous. Very cool. Well, one of my favorite stories of 2024 was when, what's it called? Elon Musk was telling a story about when he went out to dinner with Larry Ellison, the CEO and founder of Oracle, and Jensen, CEO of NVIDIA. And essentially said the entire dinner was just us talking to Jensen and begging him, we'd need chips. We just need as many GPUs as possible. And, when you think about it, and I always kind of explain this, Oracle really changed and has done a 180 and changed their business around. If you remember in the early days, Larry Ellison was very, very against cloud computing. Oracle and Larry Ellison was very against cloud computing. They thought it was going to be a fad. They didn't want to invest any money into it. So Oracle was very, very behind the eight ball around it. Also, they were behind the eight ball on subscription services too for their software. They were more of a legacy kind of enterprise software provider. When you had like Benioff and Salesforce kind of shifting to as a service or SaaS subscription based, which is definitely the way to go, by the way. Oracle was kind of archaic and stayed in the opposite way. But what's such a good learning point about some of these greatest CEOs of all time is if you can set your ego aside and understand that you were wrong and do a complete 180, you can be on the right side of history. And in Larry Ellison's case, that was such a perfect example. He was against cloud computing and he was against, as a service subscription basis for the software. He understood that he made a big mistake. He did a complete 180, revamped the company, and now Oracle Cloud is growing faster than AWS, Azure, any of the cloud providers. So it's very, very important to be able to, admit when you're wrong and do a 180 and stay with the times. It's a good investing principle too. Now, the reason why you may notice a lot of these tech companies, particularly the enterprise software, SaaS, software as a service companies, they tend to trade at a very, very high multiple of earnings to sales or price to sales, or price to earnings. There's a reason for that. And a lot of analysts make this mistake, and they try to evaluate these SaaS companies like they would a regular energy company or a consumer staples company. And they always say, I would never buy these companies because they're overvalued. Look at the PE ratio. Look at the price to sales. Well, here's the thing. What they don't understand is the following. Wall Street will assign a premium valuation or a premium multiple to a company based on their consistency and predictability in revenues and earnings, right? So if you have a company that is growing at 25% plus in terms of its sales and revenue, or sales and earnings, and that particular software company has a very, very low churn rate, or vis-a-vis a very, very high retention rate, let's say if it's a 97% retention rate for the software, well, Wall Street, when they're modeling the stock, when they're doing their discounted cash flow model, they know that revenue is going to be very, very predictable, because if you sign up a customer, they're paying $1 million a year, and with a 97% retention rate, you can almost bet 100% certainty that you're going to be able to have that revenue, $1 million a year, coming in every single year in perpetuity, right? So kind of think about that as you're evaluating businesses. Businesses that run on a subscription basis with very, very low churn rates will always trade at a premium. Always. Very, very, very seldom will they'll trade at reasonable quote-unquote valuations. They'll always trade at a big, big multiple because of the predictability in revenue and the predictability in earnings. Right? So that's kind of built into that valuation. Let's look at some of the prices here. A lot of these dollar slice places are now $1.50. 2 hot dogs for $7.99. Anyway, if you guys are enjoying the live stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. This is the Stardust Diner. This is the Din Tai Fung. Okay, we have the light. Oh, guys, we have to end it. We're on 1% battery. So thanks for joining, everybody. Appreciate it. The phone is going to die. Thanks for joining. I got to end it or else we'll be in an endless loop. Thanks for joining. Subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.